Welcome back to the Cole Sports Center in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. It is beyond a thriller at this point. Brian Scholes alongside Brandon Kinnard. If you've been with us for the last half hour or so of this broadcast, it has come down to the wire in two scenarios. At the end of regulation, at the end of the first overtime, we are now in the second OT, tied at 76 apiece as the UW Oshkosh Titans hosting the UW Whitewater Warhawks in a WIAC men's basketball showdown. And at center court, we got the ball up in the air, and it is maintained a possession by Whitewater. Fresh 5 minutes on the clock, and Whitewater will start with the first touches in this second overtime. Chris Davis in the low post against Washington. Stripped of the ball by Washington, has to throw it back to Bird at the top. Just barely keeps it in play. It looked like he hurt his hand on the play as well.
Davis clutching his hand down there in the post, but he'll continue to play. Having a huge game so far tonight.
8 on the shot clock. Bird will pull up from a long range two, and he drains it over Washington. 2-point game, 78-76 Warhawks.
Antoine Bird just having a fantastic game for the Warhawks so far. Unstoppable for anyone.
Flanagan looking to dump it to Washington. Forced out back to the perimeter by Davis. Schrempf at the top, driving around Negri. Dish to Washington. Hands it back off to Schrempf. Looking to create some space. Loses his footing. Stays on the dribble. Now calls a timeout before it was stripped away by Bird. 3:58 remaining in the second overtime. Take a quick break. Come back in 30 seconds from the Cole Sports Center in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Stay with us. It has been an exciting one here from Cole. The UW Oshkosh Titans playing host to the UW Whitewater Warhawks. They trail by 2, 78-76. Greg Schrempf forced to call a timeout just before the ball was stolen away from him on the floor. He lost his footing, and there is 8 on the shot clock for the Titans with 3:58 remaining. It's the second overtime, Brandon. I hope you're not too tired yet. We could see more action after this.
I could do this all night, Brian. This one has just been thrilling.
There are no PKs. There are no penalty shots. This is basketball. It'll go as long as it goes until a team is leading by the time the clock expires. Flanagan throws up an aggressive shot in the lane. It's no good. He was in traffic. It was a tough shot, going back across his body with his right hand. So the Warhawks maintain a 2-point lead and are on the possession with Antoine Bird. He's looking down low in the post to Davis. Could barely get a hand on that one, and now he fouled Flanagan in the lane. Offensive foul. Flanagan hit the court floor. Davis on the personal foul. That's his third foul of the game.
We've been calling for that from this table all night long. Some offensive fouls that looked like they should have been called but have not. Finally here in the second overtime, Chris Davis called for a charge down there on the low block.
Titans get a big turnover, and Schrempf back on the ball for Oshkosh to the far side. Dribbles around Negri. Back out on top to Willian. Dish to Kellner on the right wing. Back to the top. Whitworth gets a ball screen from Flanagan. 16 on the shot clock. Oshkosh taking their time. Woyan looking down low for Flanagan. Kellner left wing. 10 on the shot clock. Kellner's got some space. Throws up a 3. No good. Well off the mark. Woyan will hustle for it. Does not have wheels by any means. Can't get to that ball before it rolls out of play. Substitution on the floor for Oshkosh. Brian Washington and Nate Wera back on the floor for Kellner and Woyan.
Rough possession that last time for the Titans. They sort of ran with a 4-out, 1-in look. Looked like John Flanagan, who had a mismatch down low, was open a few times, but they were unable to get it inside to him.
2:58 and ticking remaining in the second overtime. Negri up the floor. Near side, Bird will drive baseline. A great move on Wera. Gets it to go, and 1 on the foul. And Whitewater starting to pull away with a 4-point lead. Antoine Bird a chance to make it 5 with the free throw.
All night long for Bird, it's just been the same story. Dribble penetration, he's been dishing it off to Davis, he's been taking it himself. This time he's got a chance for a 3-point play after Nate Wera got beat, then committed the foul. Tough to stop. Been saying it all night long, but with two great players like the Warhawks have in Davis and in Bird, just tough to stop.
Believe it or not, Brandon Kinnard, if he makes this free throw, he will tie Chris Davis for the lead in points scored. He does. That's 28 points for Bird, 28 for Chris Davis. They are at the top of that list. They've been doing the bulk of the work for the Warhawks.
Huge second half for Bird.
Titans will have to answer. Down low, Flanagan, baseline, stops his dribble, back out on top, Shrimp. In the corner is Kellner with 20 seconds. Looking to get it to Woyan, and he's fouled by Chris Davis. Held him from getting to that pass from Kellner.
That's 4 on Chris Davis now, so that's huge for the Titans, as probably the best player on the court in Chris Davis, now just 1 away from being disqualified with his 5th foul.
2:32 remaining in the second OT. Titans have a chance to cut the Warhawks lead. Currently stands at 5, down a bit. Woyan, his first free throw is good. 81-77. Washington, Wera, and Whitwer back on the floor. Kellner steps out. Now Washington hasn't checked in yet because Woyan is still shooting free throws,
right.
So we'll see if he makes a second one. Washington allowed to get back in the game.
Seeing a little defense-offense look here from Coach Van Dellen.
As Woyan
Washington
drains the second
Wera,
free throw.
Second free throw good. Washington and Wera have been going in on defense, and Wohan and Kellner have been playing on offense for the Titans.
3-point lead for the Warhawks, under 2.5 to play in the second overtime. Chris Davis on the right wing, dish to Negri, to Bird on the perimeter. They'll take their time with a 3-point lead to try to find the easy bucket. This is Edmonds down low, defended by Whitwer, and he is fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Nice job by Whitwer to come across on the weak side help. Looked like a clean play to me. Nice play. He had his hands straight up in the air, but unfortunately the officials disagreed. That'll send Edmonds to the line.
And one of the least aggressive fouls that we've seen by far here in the overtime periods. Edmonds misses the first free throw, which could come costly here, as now Woyan and Kellner will check back in again for Washington and Wera. You were talking about that defensive-offensive scheme head coach Van Dellen going with. Edmonds' second free throw is on the way, and it is good. 4-point game. Titans continue to chip away at that lead for the Warhawks. Have not really been able to run away with it, however, in the overtime periods. Kellner down low to Woyan, working on Davis. Goes up strong, and he's fouled by Edmonds from behind. Davis had his hands straight up, so they will not give him his 5th foul. That's got to be an accurate decision by the official. They call it on Davis. He's forced to foul out. Completely different game plan for Whitewater. It is on Edmonds.
That is Edmonds' 5th, actually. So Edmonds will exit the game. He is done for the night.
I guess it didn't really matter who it was called on. Either player would have fouled out. I suppose better Edmonds than Davis.
I would have to absolutely agree with that.
Edmonds has had a quiet night tonight. He checks out 6 of 7 from the charity stripe, 10 points on the day, 2 of 2 from the field, with 4 rebounds and 2 assists. Woyan to shoot 2 for the Titans, trying to cut down that lead once again for Whitewater. The first is up and good. Paul Woyan coming in the clutch with the easy ones.
Can't say enough about the free throw shooting from both sides tonight. Both teams have just been great up until this point.
It's been an exciting one, and for the most part, Brandon, the crowd has stayed with it. They are around. They are waiting for the conclusion of this contest. Woyan, second free throw is good. 2-point game. Warhawks 82, Titans 80. As Brian Washington checks back in for Woyan, Nate Wera on the floor, Greg Shrimp, John Flanagan, and Corey Whitwer for UWO. Negri across half court, dish to Bird on the right wing. Gets a screen from Davis. At the top, looking down low for Davis, nothing doing. 20 on the shot clock. Now he'll make a move on Washington. Dantzler swings, Negri, far side. Bird thought about taking a 3, will drive on Washington. Great defense from Brian Washington, and a late call as Bird went up with the shot with the right hand. He was not anywhere close to the basket, took up a wild shot, and it looked like they gave him one there.
Looked like the officials were set on a no call until Bird hit the floor. It seemed like a little bit of a flop from him. Then you heard the whistle blow, and now, Bird will get 2 shots from the line here.
Head coach Ted Van Dellen kind of giving a smirk. I don't think he necessarily thought that was too funny, though. Minute 38 remaining in the second OT, 82-80. Bird drains the first free throw. Wojan and Kilner back on the floor for Oshkosh. 83-80. A big free throw here from Bird to keep it a 2-possession game. Gets the ball from the baseline official, takes a breath, wipes off his mouth, gives a few pumps into the floor. The second free throw is up and good. 4-point game at Colf. Minute 30 remaining. Kilner, right wing, pulls up from long distance and can't get it to go. Wojan taps it back in off the glass.
Paul Wojan off the bench all game long has just come up huge, and there, we mentioned it at halftime, throughout the second half, second chance points for the Titans coming up big again.
They needed a quick score, and they got it. 84-82. Chris Davis underneath, off the glass and in on Flanagan and Wojan in the double team. 86-82. It's a 4-point game once again, but Titans aren't going away. Whitwer, dish to Kellner. Look to drive, now subsides. Stops his dribble. Flanagan on the left wing. Looks to drive again on Knoble, and he is fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2. That'll give head coach Ted Van Dellen the chance to get Wera and Washington back in there as well. As with the quick bucket, they can't make. There's no dead ball there. You can't get your defenders back out there on the floor. In turn, an easy bucket for Chris Davis on the other end.
Absolutely, and you look at the way this overtime period is ending compared to regulation and the first overtime, pretty similar, all three of them.